Thank you, Dr. Glass. We really appreciate the opportunity to share the thoughts and ideas that Rockcastle County Schools is exploring to address this learning loss. Our first part of our plan is how we can actually address school reentry. Tony, if you want to move that slide forward. So we are looking at coming back to school 4 days a week in person. We know that having our students in the classroom offers them the best opportunity to receive the type of learning that we intend to deliver to them. We're looking at doing that at the middle of March, perhaps March 15th, March 22nd. But in addition to that, we know that we're going to have students that are still on our virtual program, which in Rockcastle County we call My Rock Online. And those are the students that we feel that at this fourth quarter of this school year that we really need to target. So we're going to be providing some online student support for those students at each school. We're looking at perhaps doing that 2 hours each day and providing some intensive intervention time for them, some tutoring for those students that perhaps have fallen behind during this virtual period. In addition to that, we would like to open up a centralized tutoring center, and this will focus on our middle and high school students 2 days a week, and looking at some very flexible hours for that. In the evening time, we know that we have lots of students that are working, and so how can we address their needs? So we're going to be using some survey data to figure out which time would be best for our students and how we can best serve them. And our Fridays, we are using those currently for targeted academic groups. We're also going to add in some social emotional learning during that time, and also pulling in our clubs. Our middle and high school clubs have really missed out on key opportunities to connect with students and to have relationships with students. So we want to pull those clubs back in and have club days on our Fridays as well. We have plans for extended school services, offering those through April and May. And we want to focus on tutoring, but also have an enrichment portion of that. And also, again, pulling in our clubs, anything that we can do to re-envision how we can get our students back on campus. I think that this is our real opportunity for us to resell school to our Rockcastle County students. So we have to be very broad. We have to re-envision what can we do to get our students back to us. Our summer school, again, as many people have already spoken and addressed, we're going to use our summer school in a very camp type feel. We're going to call it Camp Rock. We will focus on grade level standards, using that time in the morning to really focus on core educational standards, and then using our afternoon time for enrichment activities. And also, we are going to be using our high school students to work with our elementary and middle school students to develop a student mentoring program. And something that's just might be a tad bit different than what we've discussed so far is we're looking at doing our summer school for June and July, but meeting 2 days a week instead of doing week-long camps. As a former elementary teacher, I've witnessed that summer slide and how important it is to try to correct that. So we feel like if we can have kids on our campus 2 days a week, then we can do a better job of using our time wisely. At the high school level, that will look different. At the high school level, we're going to look at week-long learning labs. That at some point that will be geared towards credit recovery, but we're also going to survey our students to try to appeal to their needs. Who better to ask but our students? So what can we offer you that will get you to come to summer school? We want to really focus on being creative and utilizing our ATC, our CTE courses, perhaps offering week-long business camps, welding camps, automotive camps, anything we can do to get our students back in our buildings, back to us, because when they're with us, then we can really start to address those social emotional learning needs that we all know that are so apparent right now. Tony, if you'll advance that. In looking at professional learning, we all know that access to stronger instruction is the key to closing gaps, and we've all been been used to addressing gaps our entire career, this is just more pronounced. So we want to really focus on what we already know. And we already know that we have to teach on grade level standards, and we have to focus on high yield teaching strategies. So we want to go back with our teachers and our principals and readdress that and really bring everybody back to the middle, to a balance of what do we know works. So we're going to be reevaluating our curriculum and pacing guides and really trying to focus on the intentional use of spiral reviews. We know that research shows that that's very beneficial in covering and meeting learning gaps. So we want to focus on that. And then using our professional learning communities to reinforce the PDSA model and also those use of high yield instructional strategies. We all know that the key to great teaching is also having a great instructional leader. So we're going to partner with the Elgin Foundation to work with our principals to utilize training on instructional leadership, and then pulling in some Kagan work for cooperative learning, and also doing some work with Advanced Kentucky at our middle and high school level, which will be new to Rockcastle County Schools in the upcoming school year. And then we will also continue to focus on digital learning training, those good strategies for remote learning. But one area that we really want to focus on is relationship building, and how do you do that when a student is remote? I think that, as we all know, across the whole state has been very difficult for us. So we're going to try to spend some time on focusing on that and building those relationships, which is key. And again, teacher stipends will be paid for participation for that work. Tony, if you want to move forward. Rockcastle County Schools was lucky enough this year to use some of our previous funding to become a one-to-one school district. So we've created a sustainability plan for our Chromebooks, for other technological needs. We're also going to continue to use our diagnostic assessment to pinpoint our strengths and our gaps. That again will guide our instruction moving forward. And in this rural part of Kentucky, the use of hotspots has been key for us to be able to provide instruction, remote instruction for our students. We have, in this part of the state, we have very, very few spots that have Wi-Fi access. So using those hotspots has been a great asset to our students. So we're going to continue that in the upcoming school year. And then our technology help desk is something that we've done that has been extremely beneficial for our families. It's open till 8 o'clock in the evening, and that gives families a place to call that they can get immediate assistance if their student is having difficulty. And then again, we'll continue to promote the Google certification. And the next list, these are just some areas that we're going to build a focus group around to explore. Textbooks versus technology is a discussion that we've been having in our district. We are now one-to-one district. So with that, we feel like that we need to come back a little bit towards the center and find a better balance with student engagement. And what does that look like? So that also goes back to that Kagan work that we want to do, and going back to what good solid instruction is, and then using that technology to support that. We have looking at comprehensive reading programs. How can we get books in the hands of students? And an area that we know we need to revisit is our multi-tiered system of support. And we have a solid program, but what we need to do a better job is of integrating that behavior and mental health supports in that program so that we're hitting all areas of the whole child. So we want to revisit that. And then looking at Imagination Library for our earliest learners, at-home learning kits for our early learners, our preschool, kindergarten students. And it's important not to forget our gifted and talented students in all of this. How can we further support their work? And then CTE and ATC summer camps. I think this is really exciting for students that may not traditionally be interested in coming to school in the summer, but how can we pull those students in to give them that hands-on exploration that they've missed so much of this school year? Tony, if you'll go forward. So pre-COVID, we had a digital learning academy in Rockcastle County, but we want to totally re-envision what that looks like. So We're looking at targeting grades 6 through 12 with this program for the upcoming school year. And we want to have a focus on innovation and using our ATC and our CTE classes to improve access to post-secondary education, the workforce, or the military. So we're envisioning some of our digital students being able to do their core classes in the AM and getting that work knocked out in the AM, and then coming into school to get their pathway courses, and we just feel like that will provide them the support they need to enter into the workforce post-graduation. And we're also looking at incorporating some virtual tutors and mentors and requiring weekly check-ins with these students. And our key is going to be flexible scheduling and personalized learning. How can we serve you? What can we do at the Rockcastle County Digital Learning Academy to better serve our students? And that's going to remain our focus, is flexibility and creativity. Tony, if you'll move forward. So I think that we've all have said this throughout our presentations. We cannot RTI ourselves out of learning loss. And I think that in speaking with our teachers, that this is going to be our focus, that we want to focus on the delivery of solid core instruction and just fill in those holes as we go. So we are actually, Friday in our leadership team, we're going to revisit the opportunity myth, because we know that that's what works. And we know that this is research-based, and this is what we are going to build our whole curriculum on next school year, is focusing on solid core instruction in every single classroom, and then using some interventionists to do some push-in work to address those learning holes that we know that we have. So we're looking at discussing with our board, hiring some district level interventionists and also a district level social worker to address those mental health needs that are so apparent with our students. Okay. Tony, if you want to move forward. The social emotional well-being is a topic that I think that we really have to put at the forefront of all of our discussions. We have many students in Rockcastle County, as I'm sure is the same across the entire state, that are really suffering right now. So our goal is to provide educational and trauma-informed care in an integrated manner. So we have developed a partnership with Rockcastle Pediatrics, and we are going to be administering the PHQ-2 Patient Health Questionnaire to all of our middle and high school students. Then we're going to use that data to flag any students that are experiencing signs of depression. We're going to work with Somerset Mental Health and Rock Peds to assist in developing service plans for these particular students. We're also going to be creating a community mentor program to work with these students that have been flagged through this questionnaire and survey. We're also using proactive counseling groups at each of our schools, and we're focusing on grief and trauma, children of incarcerated parents, students dealing with the impact of substance abuse, trying to be proactive instead of reactive in this area. And we're also going to use our district health mental coordinator and our school psychologists and Rock Pediatrics. We're going to partner all together to provide training for all of our certified and classified staff regarding trauma. We know that the bus driver is the first person that our students see in the morning when they go through the cafeteria line. We know the impact of those great relationships that they build. So we want to ensure that all of our staff, both certified and classified staff, are trained in trauma so we can better serve our students. So thank you for the opportunity to share our ideas. Again, most of this is very preliminary, and we just look forward to partnering with our community partners to best serve our students this upcoming school year.